I'll just be showing you all of our trades for the month so far. That's 2 weeks into the month already, and I'll be showing you exactly how you can replicate this result, because basically all of our trades, or almost all of our trades, have tapped on every single take profit. So far so good. I'll be showing you exactly how you can replicate this exact same result now. So I will show you all the trades, show you the exact entry points, show you the exact flow of the chart, and show you all our exit points, so that's where you can just storm into your chart, follow exact same principle and guidelines I'm about to show you now, and you can replicate this result very easily. Okay guys, so let's check it out now. So this is actually just looking very smooth, right? So these actually are gold, right? This was actually very first trade for the month, even though the original on this trade actually started in September, right? So we entered this trade first in September, we ended up closing this trade in October, right? So as you can see here, this trade was actually very neat. We saw that we saw a nice elevation on our charts just around the spot, after which we just waited for some liquidity to get created in the market, right? Which actually occurred just around our range here. You can just see that. Okay, let me just show you that. So just around our range, you can see the liquidity got created here, looking very nice. So we just had to wait for it to push above our crazy resistance around the spot, tapped on it, resistance took it towards the top, we waited for a nice momentum around the spot, and then we just stormed into the trade. So for a trade like this, all we just simply did majorly here, the major stuff or the major job we just had to do here was to wait for liquidity to get created. That's wipe out a lot of traders on the market. Enough liquidity has been created in the market, boom, we notice a nice push towards the upwards direction. So if I try zooming this stuff now, you can just see the stuff here. You can just see the stuff here. If I try zooming the stuff like this, you can just see all our zones around the spot, right? Drop down towards the zone, boom, nice rejection here, right? And from here we just started noticing a nice push towards the top. So all we just had to do was to just duplicate this stuff here, right? Just duplicate this stuff here towards the top like this. Okay, it's fine. Let's just use this towards the top like this, right? It's fine. Just clone that, and let me just place this at the bottom also. It's okay. So just something like this, right? So what we waited for, the chart was just playing around the spot on an ascending consolidation, of course, right? Or what we call an upper channel, right? So it was just pushing towards the top like this, and we just had to wait for a nice momentum to get created in the market, right? So it pushed up towards the top from around the zone. We noticed a bearish hammer just around the spot, what you can literally see here, and from there all we just had to wait was for this zone to get a nice retest, right? Just drop down towards the bottom, gave us a retest, boom, we stormed into our trade nicely like that. And if you see, this was actually zero retracement, right? A complete zero retracement trade. It was, yeah, it was actually just smooth like that. We notice a nice push towards the top from this region. So all we can just simply do here, what seems invisible, is to just extend this. We just keep extending this towards the top like this, just keep extending this, and then all of our take profits were hit nicely, I think just around the zone here. All we just kept doing was to just lock in our profit. I'm just going to drop all of the screenshots just around the screen so you can see. So our first take profit was hit, second take profit, third take profit, they were all hit nicely, right? From there we just started locking profit because I told everyone to remain in this trade. So we entered this trade just on the 30th, and then we left this trade on the 1st of October, right? Which was actually nice. We just kept holding the trade, waited a nice momentum towards the top again. You can just see that nice movement. And when we started seeing like bearish engulfing, things like that, we just had to zoom up the trade. That way, no peep was actually wasted. We caught every single peep on this market, like every single peep, right? Because yeah, we don't waste peeps, guys. We don't waste peeps. If you are from the private channel and the rest, you should understand also from the free channel that we don't waste peeps. Yeah. Okay, from there, what we noticed was that mid after leaving this trade, you can see the nice crash or the crazy crash started happening just around the spot, crashing towards the bottom, trying to create a trap, right? And from there, we waited for a nice liquidity drop again, right? Notice a massive drop towards the bottom. Now we already have a normal channel zone giving us a nice resistance happening on our chart. We already mapped out everything. You can see everything here. So all we just had to wait was to just be patient a little bit for it to tap on our zone again. You can see that. Broke out from this zone, pushed towards the top, waited, boom, enough liquidity created, tapped on a nice tapped on a nice support, which was a resistance before, tapped on a nice support around the zone, just like this, right? We just tracked it through our internals, just around the spot here. Now immediately after tapping on a nice support zone around the spot, boom, went into the trade. But then we didn't just go into the trade instantly, because we waited for this stuff to drop down first, gave us a nice rejection just around the zone, nice rejection. And so two things could have happened. We would have easily stormed into the trade early, or would have stormed into the trade late. But then I decided to storm into the trade early because I was about to catch a flight and the rest, so I just had to drop the trade, right, very fast. So I dropped the trade around the spot, after which we just noticed like some fluctuations around the zone, some fluctuations, because it was an early trade, early entry. From there we noticed a nice retracement, or let's say a nice retracement. Wasn't really bad considering where our stop loss was. Okay, so it just dropped down a little bit. From there, boom, towards the top, tapped on all our take profits nicely, just tapped on all our take profits. We kept holding this trade and it just kept pushing towards the top again, just like that. Now calculate the pips of each of these trades, and you can just write that in the comment section. So you can see that went into the trade from around the zone. This was on the 2nd of October, and then we kept holding the trade through to the 3rd of October, right? So we held this trade just roughly for 24 hours, at least within 24 hours, right? So from here we just noticed nice drop. Now if you want to go into such a trade after such a massive drop, what could we could have done easily to have almost zero risk on this trade is to wait to enter on the late entry, right? That's so wait for the stop to drop down, gives us a nice rejection on our candlesticks like this, nice rejection. And from here we can easily just map out our stuff like this, just like this. You can easily just map it out, right? So look at our minor resistance. It pushes above our minor resistance. We'll go into the trade. What do you notice? The entry would have just been like this previous entry, right? You see that, right? Waited for this, gave us a nice bearish hammer around the spot. Wait for a nice retest, boom, we go into the trade. This is a late entry, right? Just similar stuff here. Wait for a nice bearish hammer. After that, boom, we go into the trade. So the late entry, technically, when looking at our charts, based on our liquidity zones and things like that, actually gives us a much more perfect entry without any retracement at all, right? Okay, so we're going to a trade and that'll be it, even though we went on early entry here because yeah, I was actually zooming off. So waited, it pushed above our zone around the spot. If you check this out, you should see when it pushed above our zone just around the spot here, pushed above our zone, and from there we just waited a little bit, pushed towards the top, boom, we got a bearish engulfing, we're out of the trade again, just like that. So technically our first trade, all our take profits were hit. We held the trade for a few more hours to make sure that no peep was wasted. And yeah, we just kept doing that. On this trade also, you can see that, boom, immediately as we got the bearish engulfing, we're out of the trade. Meaning that on this second entry, also no people were wasted. I think I would drop all the screenshot and everything around. And if you're in the private channel, identify yourself. If you're also from the free channel, identify yourself there to make sure that no people was wasted. Everyone actually caught all the trades. Now from there, what did you notice? It crashed towards the bottom, towards this range, and from there it started pushing up again towards the top, right? So we just had to wait for a nice formation to be completed again. We just mapped all of our zone. There are no entry zones, at least for us, right? So we just waited. This time around, we're using a build-up of structure. So this time around, we just switched a little bit to use something a little bit different. Now, this was what we're looking at, right? So this time around, the chart pushed towards the top. We're waiting for it to go back to the build-up because we can see a build-up here, nice one. We can see a nice build-up here also. We can see a nice build-up here also. So the chart has to drop to tap on one of our build-up because you can see another build-up of structure here, right? Just one of our build-up around the zone. Now, after tapping on that zone, all we are just waiting for next is just a nice rejection. And if you notice, the rejection happened on this zone here where we're having a what they call a support, which was a resistance, right? So it tapped on this zone, nice rejection occurred around the spot after hitting a build-up of structure. All we just had to wait for was just a normal standard late entry. What do you notice again? Let me map that out. What do you notice again? We use that late entry this time again around the spot, right? So what do you notice? It just repeated exact same thing as our previous stops that we entered, right? Now this would have been an early entry. We had a nice bullish hammer got created here, telling us that a nice movement is about to happen towards the top. That's an early entry. We can easily storm into that, but then we are waiting for our late entry, which should give us this time around was created by evening star, right? So a breakout combined with an evening star, we know that that's a massive push right towards the top. So that's a normal combination. So this happened, we had a normal evening star around the spot, meaning that a push towards the top was just inevitable. So what did we watch out for? Tapped on a zone, nice rejection, boom, stormed into the trade just on a sniper entry. What do you notice? Zero retracement, complete zero. There was not even a single pip drop towards the bottom. From here, boom, towards the top, tap on all our take profits just around the zone, if I'm not mistaken, just around the zone. Around the zone, if I'm not mistaken. If you're from the private channel, identify the level that our thought take profit actually got smashed. Yeah, but then I'll still drop all the screenshots around so you can also see when our first, second, and third take profits were hit. And from there, we just kept holding this trade. So we held the trade for the next few hours, and we got something like, we got a build up here. So that was nice because I was expecting we'll hold this trade for another 2 days after this build up. But unfortunately, it pushed towards the top, and then we noticed a crazy hammer got created. You can see it, a crazy hammer got created with a crazy rejection. So we just had to run out of this trade. Got created, boom, dropped towards the bottom, and middle of this stuff got created, boom, we just had to leave. This wasn't even a bearish engulfing. We just had a crazy bearish hammer. We knew what was about to happen. It could have easily just dropped towards the bottom. Of course, it did not really do that. After it dropped down a little bit, and this build-up of structure actually held it, pushed it back towards the top. But it was just better leaving with 0 pips wasted, right? So once again on this trade, 0 pips wasted, right? So we actually caught every of this stuff. And if you're on the private channel or the free, identify yourself also there to make sure that everyone actually caught this trade. So from here, all we just had to start waiting for was for our next formation to get completed. So what do you notice here again? A repetition of what happened before, right? Notice the chart pushed towards the top. This time around, it actually broke below a strong resistance that was actually around the zone. You can see this crazy rejection. You can see it here also. You can see it here also. Boom. Broke below the zone, and now it just kept struggling before it took off again towards the top. So this time around, what do you notice? Breaking and playing down, just playing around the spot, creating enough liquidity for us to storm into the trade. So what did you notice? Drop towards the bottom, and if we try placing this stuff here now, you should notice what's about to happen. Drop towards the bottom, boom, tap on the zone. Now let's track this stuff out. What do you notice? You notice that this was literally the maximum zone that was created before, just a build up of structural resistance and the rest that occurred before that we used to storm into a trade, right? What do we notice? It just went back to that zone. So what did we know is about to happen? The chart is about to get rejected and just continue pushing back towards the top, right? Because that was a maximum existing resistance zone, a maximum existing support zone that was occurring on our chart there. So what did you notice now? Tapped on a zone, pushed up, gave us a second one just around the zone. All we just had to wait for this time around was a massive push towards the top. This time around, we're using what we call a B of B. That's a breakout of breakouts, right? So the chart pushes up from the zone, drops back again towards the zone. We have 2 touches. We can easily map this stuff out now. We're waiting for the third one to get created. The third one. Remember, guys, if you've been following up with us here, we know that on a third touch, we always expect a massive move on our chart. So what did you see? First touch, second touch, push towards the top, drop back down to create a third touch, just right above a little bit, right? We can classify it as a third touch nicely because we had a normal strong rejection candlestick around the spot. It gave us a rejection again just around the spot. You can see that nice rejection. So all we just had to wait for this time around was to use our early entry. Again, here I was actually on the move, so because I was on the move, I didn't want to miss this trade, so I just had to use the early entry here. But then the late entry will be around this spot, where the late entry will always give you a 0 retracement. The early entry can give you a little bit of retracement, so this would have been the late entry. We wait for this stuff to get created, bullish engulfing, after which, what did you notice? This looks so familiar now, right? You can see our bearish hammer got created, after which that a bearish hammer? Good. So we saw a bearish hammer got created around the spot, after which, boom, we stormed into a trade, and that would have been a 0 retracement stuff, right? But even when we went in here into this stuff on our early entry, it was just basically still a zero retracement. But well, late entry on trades like is usually better, right? So that we go into a trade around this spot on our early entry, went into this trade this time on our early entry, boom, push towards the top. This time around, we noticed a massive push towards the top just like that. And from here, what did you notice? Everyone would have easily left this trade, but what was getting created while we're in the trade is what we call a bullish flag, right? Where we just map this stuff out like this, just like this, and yeah, just like this. I don't have to draw the other one, but if you map it out like this, you should notice just a bullish flag around the spot. And from there, it was now just clear. Okay, it's fine, let me map it out so that everyone can actually easily just track the stuff. So from here, I just easily place the other guy here just around the spot, just around the spot here, and now you can see the flag looking very nice, bullish flag, after which we know what's about to happen is a push towards the top again, right? So this trade went in just on the 10th, and then we left on the 13th, right? On the 13th, so we're able to hold this trade. Okay, this was on Friday, and we held the truth on Monday. So technically it's still just 2 days, still just roughly 48 hours trade that we held this stuff. So all our take profits were hit just around the zone, if I'm not mistaken, and then we just kept holding the trade towards the top just like that. All our trades smooth. So from here, what did you notice? Bearish engulfing candlestick, boom, we're out of the trade, right? So technically on this stuff, yeah, no peep was actually wasted here also, right? We literally caught every single peep, because after this the formation changed. We started noticing an extension of our trade just around the spot, but we are not in the trade because just trying to play it safe. We don't want to waste any pips. We don't want to see anyone losing their profit or stop. So we just have to leave the trade. So once again, 0 pip wasted, no pip was wasted, because over here, no wasting of pips, guys. No wasting of pips. So from here, what do you notice? A nice elevation just around the spot. Nice elevation, yeah. You can just see that nice elevation towards the spot, drop down, crash down crazily to create enough liquidity on that chart, right? Just crash down crazily around the spot. You can just see that playing around, and then it started giving us what we call a consolidating trend, right? Just playing around the spot, giving us a nice consolidating trend. And then what did you notice this time around? Boom, a late entry occurred around the spot. But if you notice, we didn't go into this trade instantly, right? We didn't go into this trade instantly. Yeah, let me show you that. We didn't really go into this trade instantly around the zone, right? If you notice. Now, the reason why we didn't go into this trade instantly is that I just wasn't on the chart, right? That's just the reason. But then, because of that, we just had to wait a little bit for it to drop back again to that zone. If you notice, it pushed towards the top, drop back again to the zone, and then this time around we went into the trade, because I just was actually active on other things and the rest. I think I was in a meeting and the rest, so I couldn't really meet up to this. So it just dropped back again, boom, went into the trade, and from there it was actually just flawless, right? So just flawless victory here, right? You can just see that went into the trade, 0 retracement, complete 0 retracement. If we had gone in on this place, it had also been 0 retracement, but went in here, also 0 retracement. Just started pushing up. I think all our take profit were hit just around the zone, if I'm not mistaken, just maybe around the zone or so. So went to the trade on the 14th of October. We left this trade just around well, I don't know why it's like this, but we left this trade just around the zone. That was on the 16th. Even here was this 16, but I think we left this trade just around the zone 16th. So it was retracing a little bit on us around the spot, because now we're having this formation, yeah, right? We're having this formation just around the spot like this, around the spot like this. So it was crashing just around the zone or so. So we left this trade. So technically this is supposed to be maybe around this candlestick or so. So we just zoomed out of this trade just nicely like that, right? And once again, no peep was wasted. And now this is our most recent trade. Now all of our trades, if you notice, they've all hit all take profits, and we held them for several hours even after that, locking it to cash out even the more to make sure that no peep was wasted. But then if you look at our most recent trade, that was on the 17th of October, right? This was just yesterday, Friday, because I'm recording this video not on Friday now. So yeah, so this was just our most recent stuff, right? So yeah, so went into this trade, and then it pushed up really nicely. Now this trade went in on an early entry, because if you notice, you can also see these are internal trend that I actually mapped out here. A late entry, which would have been way better, would have just been above this region immediately after breaking, but because I was actually about catching a different flight again, I decided to place this trade on an early entry, right? So when I went into this trade on an early entry, we went into this trade on an early entry, it pushed towards the top nicely, tapped on our first take profits, everything clean. But because it's not the late entry that not broken above our internals, now this stuff would have broken nicely because the momentum was pretty impressive. It was actually pretty impressive, right? Because we went into the trade and it was already pushing towards the top. So I think others that would have joined, maybe they would have been a few pips late, maybe, because the momentum was pretty impressive, right? So I was expecting that would just push up or breakout zone and then just go tap on our trades, and then we'll even hold this trade through to on Monday or maybe even on Tuesday. But unfortunately, it didn't really cross on our second test, on our second condition. Yeah. So what happened? It hit a zone, got rejected, after which it just crashed down to tap on our stop loss just like that, which was actually very sad because technically it was actually our first stop loss that was hit for the month. And even though this was a partial stop loss because we caught on one take profit, which is still very nice, but we don't like one take profit or two take profit here. We don't do that here. We like all our take profit to always get hit all the time. But as it is, well, yeah, so we had just one take profit on this trade, after which it just crashed down and just hit on our stop loss. Very, very sad, but it is what it is. So that's it for all of our trades, and you can calculate the accuracy rate on your own, but this was it's actually just been pretty accurate, pretty smooth. For last month also, all our trades none actually hit stop loss directly. I think all of our trades were actually hit all take profits. I think just one trade, we had one trade like this that tapped on one take profit and went to a stop loss, and we had another that tapped on two take profit and went to a stop loss. Aside that, every other trade that we took hit all take profits. That's all three take profits, which is actually pretty smooth, right? I think I actually did a video on that also. But so far so good, guys. This is just what we're having, right? This is just what we're having, right? Yeah. So guys, basically all you can just do to see how we stormed into this trade is very simple. You can easily just watch this video over and over again until you understand how we're able to storm into this trade, because we're using just very similar pattern this month. Next month might be different, the market might be different, but so far so good for this month. You'll notice that we're using just similar pattern to storm into this trade. Okay guys, so that's just basically it, right? And remember, if you actually want to use the broker that we have been using, just check in the description box. You should actually just see the broker that we've been using. It has actually just been very, very smooth there. And if you're from the private channel, remember to identify yourself in the comment section. If you're also from the free, remember to identify yourself in the comment section. I'll be reading every single comment in the comment section. And if you're new to the YouTube channel, just remember to hit on subscribe button, hit on like button, and also remember to turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any videos that will be dropping out from this place. So bye from you guys. I'm Mr. P. Peace.